My name is Jennifer. I am 63 years old, and I live alone in a small, quiet house. It was not always this quiet. For many years, this house was filled with the sound of my son's laughter, his footsteps, his voice. But that was before everything changed. My husband left us when our son Robin was still very young. He was so little that he never really remembered his father. After my husband walked out, I had nothing, no money, no job, nowhere to go. But I had Robin, and that was enough to keep me going. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3. I paid the rent, bought the food, kept the lights on. Being a single mother was the hardest thing I have ever done, but I never complained. I gave up my own dreams so Robin could have his. Everything I did for him. Robin grew into a kind and gentle young man, and I was so proud of him. He visited me every Sunday. We cooked together, ate together, and talked for hours. Those Sunday dinners were the happiest part of my week. I believed that no matter what happened in life, my son would always be by my side. I was wrong. When Robin turned 25, he met a woman named Amelia. He was so happy when he told me about her, and I was happy for him too. One Sunday, he brought her to my house for dinner. She smiled, she complimented my cooking, she said my home was beautiful. But something felt off. When I looked into her eyes, I did not see warmth. I saw calculation. I said nothing that. I wanted Robin to be happy, so I smiled and said nothing. After that night, things slowly began to change. Amelia never said anything cruel about me directly. She was too clever for that. Instead, she planted small seeds. She told Robin his clothes were outdated. She suggested they eat at expensive restaurants instead of coming to my house. She introduced him to her stylish friends, and little by little, Robin's old life began to fade away. His old friends disappeared, his old habits disappeared, and soon his Sunday visits disappeared too. At first, he called with excuses. Work was busy. He was tired. Then even the excuses stopped. His phone calls grew shorter and further apart. Every time we spoke, he seemed distracted, like he was already somewhere else. "I have to go, Mother," he would say, and then silence. I missed his voice so much it felt like a physical pain. One day I could not stay quiet anymore. I called him and told him I was worried. I tried gently to share my concerns about Amelia. He did not want to hear it. He got angry. "You are just jealous, Mother," he said. "You don't want me to be happy." Those words broke me. I was not jealous. I was scared. I could see someone pulling my son away piece by piece, and I did not know how to stop it. Weeks passed without a single call. I could not bear it anymore. One evening, I took the bus to Robin's apartment. My hands were trembling as I stepped out of the elevator and walked down the hall to door number 22. I stood there for a moment, took a deep breath, and knocked. The door opened, but it was not Robin standing there. It was Amelia. Her face was cold and still. "Is Robin home?" I asked. "I need to talk to him." She looked at me without blinking. "He's home," she said. But he doesn't want to see you. The words hit me like a wave. I asked her to please let me see my son. She shook her head. She said Robin needed his freedom from me. She told me he felt I was controlling, that I was trying to run his life. I stood there in that hallway, unable to speak, controlling. I had worked my entire life for that boy. I had sacrificed everything, and now I was standing at his door like a stranger, being turned away. Robin was inside that apartment. He knew I was there, and he did not come to the door. I turned and walked away. I did not say goodbye. There was nothing left to say. The days that followed were the darkest of my life. I watched the phone, waiting for it to ring. I looked out the window, hoping to see his car. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Nothing. No calls, no letters, no visits. I stopped sleeping properly. I stopped eating properly. When I went outside, I imagined people looking at me, wondering what kind of mother loses her own son. I wanted to explain, but I said nothing. Then one morning, I opened the newspaper and saw Robin's name. My heart stopped. I read the article slowly, my hands shaking. It said that Amelia had been having an affair with Robin's closest friend. My poor son. I wanted to run to him. I wanted to hold him and tell him everything would be okay. But then I remembered standing at his door. I remembered being turned away. What if he still did not want to see me? What if I reached out and he pushed me away again? I was so afraid of being hurt one more time that I sat frozen at my kitchen table, unable to move. And then there was a knock at my door. I could not imagine who it could be. No one visited me anymore. I walked to the door slowly and opened it. It was Robin, my son. He stood on the doorstep, looking like a man who had been through a storm. His face was pale, his eyes were swollen and red. He did not look like the man who had walked out of my life. He looked like my boy, lost and broken and home at last. "Mother," he whispered. His voice cracked. "I'm so sorry. I am so sorry." I did not say a word. I simply opened my arms, and he fell into them, and I held him the way I had held him when he was small and the world frightened him. And I cried, not from sadness this time, but from relief. Robin lives with me again now. Every morning I hear his voice in the kitchen. Every night I sleep peacefully, knowing he is safe in the next room. People sometimes ask me how I forgave him so easily. They say they could never do it, but they are not his mother. When I look at Robin, I do not see the man who hurt me. I see the little boy I raised alone, the boy I stayed up late for, the boy I worked 2 jobs for, the boy I never stopped loving even when he forgot to love me back. Families can wound each other deeply, but love, real love, does not give up. It waits. It endures. And when the person you love finally finds their way back to you, you do not waste a single moment on bitterness. You hold them close, and you thank God they came home.